here. Welcome to my kitchen for another episode of Rev Cooks. Listen guys, what do you think of when you think of comfort food? Different things creates different ideas of comfort food for us. You know, here on the Rev, you know, we always like to keep it kingdom. The Lord that we serve is a God that declares that He wants to bring comfort in the lives of His people. He's literally a comforting agent. And so listen, there's nothing that reminds me more of my childhood and growing up than a good old-fashioned serious pot roast. So today I'm going to show you how I make Rev's roast. I'm excited to show you this recipe. Actually, you know, for you that's been watching me or friends that's been following me for a long time, the first ever video I ever done of me cooking was actually a pot roast. And so I'm actually going to show you guys how to do it right here on the channel today. Let me show you a couple things that you're going to need. To do this the way I do it, the first thing you want to do is start to right now I have preheated over high heat a high smoke point oil. I'm using grapeseed oil. I'll explain more about that in just a moment. Few ingredients you need to make an amazing pot roast. I've got some beef broth here. I've got some kosher salt, a seasoning of your choice. I prefer Everglades seasoning. It's a great all-purpose seasoning. If you don't know where you can find it, that's what Amazon is for. Some black pepper, and this is another seasoning I like to use. This is Lipton beefy onion soup mix. We have, of course, our veggies. I've got some carrots. I've got a couple stalks of celery. These are shallots. I like to use shallots instead of garlic and usually throw some extra onion in. This is what I had today. I've never used red onion, but we're going to see how it works. I'm going to use about a half an onion. Get those all prepared for you in just a moment. The first thing you want to do, first off, when you're making a roast, I prefer to use chuck. Chuck is the best cut, in my opinion, for roast. I have about almost a 3-pound chuck here. To this, you want to season it liberally with some kosher salt. Now again, this is a big piece of meat, so don't be afraid to put some salt on it. It's not going to hurt it, I promise. And then what we want to do is after that, I'll have a little extra salt here. We want to take it, and remember, anytime you're going to fry something, I like to take and get a little extra of the salt there on the sides. What I'm going to do, and this is really blazing, I've never done it in this before, so let's see how serious a business this is. You might want to back up. Don't get close. You want to take, and we're going to actually, remember, we're going to lay this meat away from us because as you can see, you can get a little bit of splatter. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to let this go for a few moments on each side. Right? While I'm doing that, let me show you what we do with our veg. So I'm going to use a crock pot for this. We'll go ahead and throw in just a few of my carrots. I'm using some beef broth here. I'm going to put a little bit in right now. I don't know why I do that. It's just how the Rev does it. I like to do that when I turn it on. I turn it on high at first, and usually I'll let this go on high for about 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 at the most, then turn it to low. But today, because I'm going to be going almost all day, I'm going to go ahead and turn it down to low. At this point, we want to take and make sure all of our veggies are ready to go. So I'm just going to chop these. Add these as well to the pot. Again, you can use as much or as little as you like. Chop these onions just a little bit. Now what we want to do is we want to take and we want to flip our roast. We're going to try to. I like to sear all around the sides as well. And again, we want to use a high smoke point oil. I love grapeseed oil for this because I feel like it has a very neutral flavor. Doesn't really flavor the meat at all. Obviously, if I was using olive oil, we would have smoke everywhere, and it really would affect the flavor of the meat. And again, you want to lay it away from yourself. And you see how, again, now we want to also salt this side as well. This brings, what happens when you're browning the meat like this, it just adds an extra dimension of flavor to the dish that you wouldn't have any other way. Again, I like to use shallots. You can find these literally in any grocery store now. Used to not be able to find them as easy. The best way to describe a shallot for me is if you took onion and onion decided that it was going to marry garlic and have little bitty children, they would come out shallots. So I love the flavor of shallots and stuff like this. Again, however much you add is totally up to you. At this point, again, just after browning the meat a little bit, we're going to transfer it. Go ahead and turn the heat off there, Rev. Make sure it's done on all sides. Yep. Well, if I can get a hold of it. Transfer this to your crock pot. Wow, that got brown quicker than I'm used to. So what we want to do is I'm going to add the rest of these ingredients. I just want to show you what I'm going to do here. Add the rest of these. Our shallots are in. Yeah, I'm having a brain cramp this morning. I always do this in the morning. Our celery and our carrots, our onion, our shallots are in. Now we want to go in with our liquid. I'm using a beef broth. Again, you can use water if you want. I just think beef broth adds an extra layer of flavor. At this point also, and I'll add a little bit more actually because I thought there'd be more there, because I like to do it to where the meat is just about covered. At this point, we want to add our soup mix. And this is, guys, I'm telling you, this is going to really cook down throughout the day and make an amazing pot roast. So I'm going to show you too this evening what I'm probably going to do. Don't hold me to it, but I think what I'll do just for Rev Cooks, do something a little different. As soon as this is done, I'm going to show you quickly before I show you the final product. I'll show you quickly how to make a homemade gravy out of this. And you'll have some gravy in case you want to make like a hot roast beef sandwich, or you want to, maybe you're making some mashed potatoes with yours. And you would, some of you that make roast, I'm adding pepper as well. I used to add pepper right away before the frying process, but after doing some research, I don't know if this is true, but I just believe what I read. Pepper can, in really hot oil, burn a little bit and change the flavor of your dish. So I started adding pepper after, at this point. But you know, also, I don't add potatoes to my roast. And I know some people do. If you do, that's fine. Throw them in at this point. The reason I don't is because potatoes are very starchy. When they break down, the starch gets into the sauce and it changes the flavor, it changes the consistency, and it changes the potato. So if you like that, do it. Right now is the moment that you want to chop up some red skin potatoes or something, throw them in there, let them go, you're good to go. But for me, I really like mashed potatoes, and when I'm feeling really fancy, some garlic mashed potatoes, and yeah, that's what I like with my roast, so I'm not going to add them to it now. It's good to go. All we need is to add, well, again, a seasoning of your choice. I prefer a little bit, and again, this step is completely optional. I just like the flavor of the Everglades. Now, real quick, we're going to go ahead and, you don't have to watch this part, just watch me. I'm going to add a little bit more water because I don't feel like the liquid is enough. Of course, I'm adding the water to this. You guys know why. So it gathers some of the leftover flavor and seasoning from the broth that's been sitting in there. Let me get this about right. All right, we are good to go. Now listen, it's as easy as that, guys. We're gonna cover it, let this thing cook. It's on low. I'm guessing, what time is it this morning? It's early in the morning. So when I get home later on today, I'll check it. We'll probably be having this by about 5 p.m. So it's gonna be on for a good 8, 9, 10 hours. So just depending on how long, just keep it on low and let it go. And there you go. I'm gonna show you how this looks when it's done. Simple recipe, but amazing comfort food that I promise you, it's gonna remind you of, I don't know how your mama made it or grandma, or maybe you snuck off to one of those places, I don't know, like Cracker Barrel or something to get yourself some pot roast. I don't know. But this, my friend, is an amazing pot roast. I'm gonna show you how we finish it here in just a few moments. All right, guys, listen, we're back. It's later in the day, our roast is ready. I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment, but as promised, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple gravy. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got about 2 cups, took 2 cups of liquid from the roast, and I'm going to pour it in through a strainer here just to get any big chunks out or anything in there you don't want. And you're going to want to bring this to an absolutely rolling boil. I mean boil. And when you think it's not boiling enough, boil it some more. So we want to boil the mess out of this. And there's multiple ways you can do gravy, okay? So I'm showing you an easy way. I'll explain to you another way to do it as well. But let me show you the easiest way to do this quickly. Because like I said, my family's hungry, I want to get this done. So I'm showing you a quick, cheap way. Again, start with this liquid from your roast and a rolling boil. You don't need to salt or pepper to do anything. It has tons of flavor in it. Now, I'm going to make a quick slurry here of about 1/2 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of warm water, and I'm going to mix this real good. Really combine these two. Make sure we have all the flour and everything out of there. Now you could just dump the liquid right in, but I like to strain it out. I'll tell you another way to do this. If you have time and you want to take the longer route, a little darker, a little richer, a little thicker gravy, what you'll want to do is start off, before you put your liquid in, start off with equal parts butter and flour and make a roux. Or even better yet, if you got some, take some of the fat I know it's real fattening, but take some of the fat from the roast with some butter, melt that down real good, make a roux, and then add your liquid to that. That's another way to do it. And after that cooks, and even to this, you can add some, I don't have any on me right now, but you can add some browning liquid, a little bit of Worcestershire sauce, something like that. However you want to do your flavor profile. This is just a basic way to make a gravy, what I'm showing you right now. And we get this rolling boil really going, because what we want to do is, as we start to add our slurry mixture, we don't want our gravy lumpy. Nobody wants to eat any lumpy gravy. So I'm actually going to got something, my gravy boat, and I'm just going to start adding a little bit of this slurry mixture at a time. Just a little. And I'm going to keep on whisking. After you add a few, you can even turn it down a little bit if you want, and the gravy will begin to thicken up. Now, from here, guys, it's just a labor of love. It's that simple. As you can see already, now I'm going to keep whisking this. I forgot to grab a spoon. I don't really have one either. All I have is a Selena spoon, an old baby spoon that we kept, sorry. So you can see this is still a little runny. So we want to keep stirring, keep adding. Now, as you're perfecting this, right? As you're perfecting this, maybe you do something a little wrong. You're like, I don't know what's going on. I've got too many. Maybe it gets a little lumpy on you. Then you can take the same strainer, get it your gravy exactly where you want it. Take the same strainer, or actually clean it off, and you can actually run the gravy through a strain, and it will get out any of the little lumps that maybe you missed. It is a simple process, but it takes a little bit of time. You just got to keep working it, and eventually you slow down a little bit on the heat, and you can see already this gravy is really starting to thickening more and more and more. And at this point, if you were going to add a little bit of goodies, right now you could add a little bit of browning seasoning, or the browning seasoning that people put in soups. Adds an extra depth of flavor right now. You could also, like I said, add a little Worcestershire sauce. And remember, the longer you allow your gravy to sit, the more it's going to set up on you. And this gravy is starting to look really good already. All right, in just a moment, guys, I'm going to show you everything finished. It's thickening up. See how that's thickening up? This is, like I said, you don't have to add any seasoning to it. This comes directly from the roast. So your veg, your beef, your seasonings, all of that is going into making this phenomenal gravy. Oh yeah, this is going to be good. I don't make a lot here because for whatever reason my family don't eat a lot of it. Maybe it's because I need to kind of force it upon them. But see how thick this is getting, guys? See how thick it's getting? It's pretty much about ready. Join me back in just a second. I'm going to get some stuff plated up and let you check it out. All right, so now we are finished. You can see I pulled some of the roast out, this amazing roast. I'm cheating. I'm doing a hot roast beef sandwich. And look at that gravy. Oh yes. On the potatoes, over the hot beef sandwich. Stole some of those carrots right out from the roast. Just do your thing. One thing I need to add, because it's TheREV, it's what I do. I gotta pepper everything. So I'm gonna add some more pepper. Guys, look how easy this is. Easy preparation, easy meal, ready to go, comfort food. If you're new around here, don't forget to like, subscribe, get in the comments, let me know how your roast turns out. Take a picture and show me. Until next time, this is TheREV Online. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen, and I'm out.